Hey folks, Duga Does here. Welcome back to my channel. Another episode of DDT or Duger's Deep Thoughts. Hope you like my shirt. See, it says U.S. Marines on it, and it's got all the characters that a Marine should have. And no, I didn't serve in the Marines. That's for a different video. I'll get into that later. I just wore it in honor of our servicemen and those who served and those who lost their life for our country to maintain our freedom. You're going to hear me talk about free a lot. Freedom, free thinking, free men, all that. But for today, I want to talk about what this day means to me, my family, to all of us Americans. And I want to start this off by making a comment about or talking about something that was in the news. Kamala Harris, our vice president, made a comment about this being a long weekend. In other words, she was trying to minimize the importance of this holiday. And I want to talk about a relative who gave his life for this country, who had a very, very, very long weekend. And it's a good example of what this holiday should mean to everyone. Even those who didn't lose a relative should at least pay the respects because of the freedom they are given as a result of giving my relative or someone else's relative giving their life so that they can say and do the things that they do freely. So let's get into this. First of all, I want to show you my uncle. His name was Oscar Eugene Sappington. He was a private in the United States Army during World War II. Don't know if you can see that too well, but that's him right there. Let's see if the camera can pick it up. That's him. He was only 19 when he died. Very young man. And that was the average age of most young men who gave their life during World War II. And that was the average age of many who served during that war. Uncle Gene, as they called him, well, my Uncle Gene Sappington, was born on October 24th, 1925, here in Dawson, Oklahoma. He died in Germeter, Kreisstern, Nordrhein-Westfalen, Germany, on January 11th, 1945. Prior to going to war, he had just graduated from Will Rogers High School here in Tulsa. And he began working at the Philbrook Arts Museum, which is still here in town. Then he got the call to join the Army in 1944. That's right, just 1 year before his death. And he served in the Company C, 30th, 309th Infantry, 78th Division of the United States Army. And during the war, his company was tasked with taking a part of Germany, a town called Hürtgen. And they was fighting or taking a couple hills near Hürtgen. The sector he was in was referred to as Rafflesbrand. And while they was trying to take those hills, they suffered a lot of casualties. And my great uncle was one of them. He stepped on a landmine and was gone. He was declared missing on January 11th, 1945. 2 years later, his remains were found by a Belgian woodsman and his remains were interred at Henri Chapel American Cemetery and Memorial in Liege, Belgium. There he sat, laid in an unknown grave for 73 years. That's a long weekend. And he was not accounted for until April 23rd, 2017, when his remains were DNA matched to a cousin of mine, one of the oldest surviving relatives in the family, who knew him and actually spent time with him. So he was the one that tested, and they was able to confirm it. And his remains were returned to Oklahoma on May 1st, 2018. And I think he was, no, they wasn't returned. They was accounted for on May 1st, 2018. His remains were brought back to Oklahoma in July of 2018, I believe it was. And he is buried with my great-great-grandparents at Memorial Park Cemetery here in Tulsa. In fact, it's just down the street where I live. And it wasn't just a long weekend for my uncle, being unaccounted for, missing in action for 73 years. It was a long weekend for his family as well. And that's why this weekend is so important, because it's not just the men who gave their life, but the family who sacrificed. They lost someone. And my great-great-grandmother lamented over him being missing. From what family members have told me, she would pray every night for her Genie Boy to come home. Genie Boy was her nickname for him. And every night she would pray for Genie Boy to come home. Come home, Genie Boy. She continued doing that up until her death in 1948. My great-great-grandfather lived until 1969. Neither one of them got to see their Genie Boy come home. Finally, he did. Now he's laying next to him. Their long weekend is over, but there are some families out there who still are having a long weekend. From World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, even to today, there's still men who gave their life that are still missing. And those families are having a long weekend. Those who've lost a relative recently are having a long weekend. So, Miss Harris, you shouldn't make light of something that you may not understand, but you could have at least honored them by saying something rather than just calling it a long weekend. You are a leader of our country. And regardless of whether you give a rat's patootie about anyone who served, you could at least take the time out and thank them for giving you the right to say the things that you do. They gave you that freedom to say that. And as a result, I think you should have said thank you. At least that. Instead of minimizing their sacrifice and the day to remember them by. That's just totally uncool and wrong. And I, for one, will not stand for it. And there's many in this country who will not stand for it. And before this day is over, I think you should at least retract your statement and make it right. Honor these men and women who sacrificed. That's the least you can do. Now, I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And if you want notifications on when I upload, hit the bell icon. You'll receive a notification when I upload a video. My videos will be sporadic. I'm not totally back to where I can record 2 or 3 days a week like I was. It's going to be a little more sporadic because I've got things I need to take care of, like with my grandma and myself, because I'm still doing physical therapy on the shoulder. So I'm still not quite there yet. Before I forget, my great uncle was awarded a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart for his sacrifice. And so at least his long weekend was rewarded with that and a return home. And I'm glad he's here, and hopefully I get a chance to go see him soon. I haven't been to the grave since he was buried, and hopefully I can correct that. But I don't go without thinking about him and what he's done for our country. So I hope you like what I had to say. Please comment. I'd love to read your comments. And y'all just enjoy this weekend, and please take the time out to remember those who gave us our freedoms, because soon we'll be having to fight for them as well, because slowly they're being taken away from us, and that should not happen. As the old saying goes, you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And those things that we are afforded in this country, we should stand up for, especially our freedoms. Those that are guaranteed to us by God and by the Constitution. Well, folks, you have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, do good and deuces. Bye-bye.